Hey Internet, it's Mark Barsotti, back after a much too long pause with part 3 of my 2010 interview with my great friend, the late great writer Ed Bryant. And before we continue with the interview, some news. The first two compilations of Ed's work that's been in progress since around the turn of the century are finally out, both available on Amazon. So the volume 1 is The Road to Cinnabar, which collects a lot of Ed's science fiction from the 70s, and the second volume, Dark Angels, which is primarily horror. Those are both available right now on Amazon.com. Go check them out. Ed certainly deserves a posthumous audience. So, to getting back to the interview, we left off after part 1. I asked Ed what books he would like to take if he was stranded on a desert island, and he had mentioned a medical text, and that's where we pick up on part 2 of this part 3 of Ed Bryant.
A little more time. I'm going to rephrase another question, which was the medical book would certainly be practical, but let's take it off the list and limit it to works of literature. So you have 2 choices left.
Well, I'd be tempted trying to impress everybody by saying
Collected works of Shakespeare.
the complete works of Shakespeare. That might be a possibility, but while I was thinking about that, there's another book, and maybe cheating, but I'd class it as, in the broad sense, a work of literature, and that is, I would love to have the biggest volume of quotations, as in Martin's quotations. And the reason for this is because, it's dilettante's paradise, because you have all of these one-liners, two-liners, three-liners, whatever, but short pieces of the works of so many other people.
Let's look at this, for example.
Yes. Thank you for this prop. The International Dictionary of Thought.
Which is a quote dictionary.
Yeah. And why I would appreciate this on a desert island, if I was going to be stranded there a long time, is because I don't get bored easily, but I've got the capacity for becoming bored if I don't have something to play off.
Right.
And this would be perfect, because remember Tom Hanks in the movie where he's marooned on a desert island and he ends up with his not exactly imaginary friend, but his friend Wilson.
The volleyball.
Which is volleyball, yeah. And, having the thoughts, good, bad, indifferent, profound, or silly, of so many people here would be a good way for me to be able to live within my own mind, at least, being able to, well, to a degree, carrying on dialogues triggered by these thoughts, using them as catalysts. I might well on that island, write my big novel, totally in my head, or maybe drawn in the sand with a stick, but
Palm leaves with fire ash.
yeah. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities, but I think that something like this book would be ideal for my own purposes.
So that's number 2. You have 1 choice left.
Well, maybe I'll have to go with Shakespeare.
Collected works of Jackie Collins.
Yeah. Well, Shakespeare is a real possibility. I mean, Lord knows it would be heresy to say that I don't like Shakespeare or I've never read Shakespeare. I mean, I have read Shakespeare.
But overrated.
Yeah,
He's a bit overrated.
No, I mean, one of the things I admire about Shakespeare is he did the same thing with his plays that I'm talking about to some degree and doing with the International Book of Thoughts, because Shakespeare is frequently called down by some critics and lauded by others because he was a consummate magpie. a magpie in the sense of somebody who picked up bright, shiny baubles that came from other sources than his own imagination. His genius was not only to come up with some really good original material, but to take the work of other people who come from long before him, who are far more obscure than he, and to reinvent them and put them all together in his own place. And I think that's a valid chunk of what we now remember as his genius. And I might, in my own head, I might be doing the same thing with the quotes. So Shakespeare would be good, but I'll offer an alternative, very quick one. If I'm going to be out there on this island without companionship, and we're not going to talk about indigenous monkey life or anything like that.
Indigenous monkey love.
I was thinking that one of the, for my money, one of the best romantic books I can think of, one of my favorites is John Fowles' The Ebony Tower, because that's a complex book. It's about a lot of different things. It's erotic, it's sensual, it's romantic, and that might be the book that I would choose to remind me of what I was missing while I was stranded on this island, which I think would be not necessarily a self-inflicted torture to remember that, but a way of reminding myself of my own humanity, in this case, painful though it might be.
Okay, good choices. One more digital item question. I know you're quite the rock music fan, having attended a variety of concerts with you over the past decades. I'll broaden this question out. I'll limit it to rock or say popular music, but I won't pigeonhole you to any particular album. But what three music artists, if you could limit it to three, that you could wash on this digital island with you, who would those artists be?
Oh my goodness, I mean,
It's a tough choice.
those tough questions, there's so many.
Right. But your answer tonight.
My answer tonight, okay. One artist would be Johnny Cash.
Yeah, good choice.
Because Johnny Cash, he has had so many phases in his life and music, and like so many others, thanks to my producer Rick Rubin, I've been buying Johnny Cash albums even after his death. I think Rick Rubin, in the last years of Johnny Cash's life, did a tremendous job of helping Cash wind up his life with some really
high
remarkable
artistic note.
Yeah. In fact, I believe the 5th American Music album came out within the last few months.
Yeah.
So that would be one. Another likely one, just because of his variety and sensibility, would be Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else? I'd like to give some balance here. I mean, in the sense of, should I pick a female artist, or should I turn to world music and other cultures? Because Springsteen and Cash are, of course, both wonderful encapsulations of the culture in which I live. What they sing about, to some degree, their musical life is my life. It's indistinguishable. I mean, most
In American life as well.
Yeah. I mean, whatever generation we're in, the music of that generation is integral to who we are. For someone who's totally different, but just as emotionally loaded in terms of what I get out of the music, I think I might pick Billie Holiday.
Okay.
Just because she's wonderful. And her work is wonderful. So I'll go with those three now, and we'll forget about jazz, classics.
Yeah, I've tried to limit it to
Yeah.
music. Okay. All good choices.
Okay, so that's going to be the end of part 2. part 3, because we've changed topics here. The good part is part 4, which I promise will come much quicker than part 3, will probably be the last 20 minutes of this disc. That'll be much longer. Get a bigger dose of Ed to round out the interview. And again, I should have just paused this and had Ed be on the screen. But in any case, just a reminder, all you readers out there, because I know you're a reader if you're probably watching this interview with a dead writer. Again, great news. 2 giant books. The hardcovers I would recommend if you can afford them, but they're about 500 pages, even in softcover. So Ed's science fiction, The Road to Cinnabar, and Dark Angels, Ed's horror, are both now available on Amazon, the Amazon closest to you. But again, Ed's the type of writer that, yes, there's a lot of science fiction elements in his science fiction. There's a lot of horrific elements, mostly non-supernatural in his horror. But as always, Ed wrote gripping, emotionally engaging, multi-layered stories about real people, even when they're in fantastic situations. So again, check out The Road to Cinnabar and Dark Angels. And this is Mark Barsati, signing off for now. And again, keep your eyes on this little corner of the internet for Ed part 4 coming up, I promise, in the not too distant future.